So we will discuss 5 questions, just like always. These 5 questions are based on agile approaches, testing different type of concepts and mindset, which are most important for agile. And after every question, we will discuss what that mindset is, and we'll try to consolidate all of those things at the end of the session. Okay, so you will see the question on your screen, go through the question, see the options, put the answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss. As soon as I receive 50% of the options, 50% of the responses, I will start discussing, which will take around 1 minute to 1 minute and 10 seconds. And then we will start discussing just like the exam. Those who are still attempting and I'm discussing, please do continue to attempt. Put your answer in the chat box, and then we will discuss. Okay, so let us start with our first question first. Please go through the question, put the answer in the chat box. All right, so let's discuss the question. Okay. An organization plans to transition from traditional approach to agile approach for project management. For an upcoming project, the project sponsor talks about Scrum Man approach, which is essentially a mix of Scrum and Kanban methodologies. Okay, so what's happening? The organization is moving from traditional to agile. Okay, in a lot of questions in the exam also, you will see this scenario. Okay, the major scenario that an organization is moving from traditional to agile. Okay. The sponsor talks about Scrum Man, which is a mix of Scrum and Kanban methodologies. Sponsor has also suggested that the existing business analyst to support this project as product owner. Okay, so we will be using mix of Scrum and Kanban, and there would be a product owner who is an existing business analyst. The product owner, however, is unclear about the ways in which to initiate the work for delivering the functionalities required. Okay, so now this person has been a business analyst, okay, and they're not very sure on how to initiate the work. Okay, what should be done to deliver the functionality? That's what situation is, right? So in the exam, try to understand the situation. You don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about what exactly the situation is. Just keep reading through it and try to visualize the situation. Okay, so this visualization is that there's a new company. There's a company moving from traditional to agile. The sponsor has asked somebody to become a product owner, and the product owner feels they're not very sure about how to do the work. That's the scenario. Question is, how should the project manager assist the product owner? Okay. Now it's a very important thing to understand, because a project manager, should they assist the product owner? Yes. Right. They need to assist the product owner at different point of time whenever the product owner is stuck. Let us start discussing what the options are. Encourage the team to train the product owner about agile practices. Why would the team train? Like, this team is not responsible for providing the training. Maybe they can have a discussion on technical things. Maybe they can have a discussion on the technical aspects, maybe a little bit about product they can provide them. But about agile practices, project manager themselves are in much better position to train than the team. So we will eliminate this. Then we go to B. Coach the product owner on purpose, creation, and maintenance of a product backlog. Okay. Now the product owner does not know how to initiate the work. Okay. And what is one of the first things that we do whenever we are trying to deliver the functionalities which are required? We will try to create a list of these functionalities. Okay. And what is that list of functionalities? Nothing but a product backlog. So if the project manager coaches the product owner on purpose, creation, and maintenance, it looks like a good choice. Okay. Looks like a very, very good choice. We'll keep it. This is what you have to do also in exam. Okay. If you find out an option and you think that it is a correct one, just park it, see the other options, because sometimes we may find a good option and later we may find a better option. Okay. So for now, just park it. Let us see C and D and then we'll decide. Discuss the product owner's responsibilities within the project team. Okay. What benefit will you get from that? How will it help the product owner initiate the work? If we discuss the responsibilities of product owner with the team, not very helpful option. Then we go to D. Help product owner create a work breakdown structure in detail. Okay. Work breakdown structure does help us in initiating the work and understanding what are the deliverables, but not in Agile approach. Okay. Because in Agile approach, if you start creating WBS, then what would happen is we will have to create a lot of revision of WBS, which is very complicated because a lot of linking there are there. So it is very complicated. Rather than that, if we can create just a list of items, we can very easily move it around. That is why in Agile, we create product backlog instead of WBS. Not because someone told you so, but because as a project manager, you believe in it. You believe that product backlog is a much better way to represent the changing requirements rather than the WBS, which is a hierarchical structure. So instead of creating a hierarchical structure and a network kind of thing, we would just list down the things so that it is easy to change. Okay? And hence, WBS is not a good choice. B is better, which all of you answered. Is it clear, everyone? I saw one D somewhere. Okay. Is it clear? I think all of you are correct. Any question anybody wants to discuss about this question or anything that came to your mind through our discussion that anybody would like to ask?
Amit, this is Sharik here.
Yes, please.
Although I marked B because I was clear about that, but as I read the C one, it seemed to be discuss the product owner's responsibilities within the project team. So we are probably with the analyst, you're telling him what his responsibilities would be within the project team. You could understand it even that way. So it could have been a little confusing.
Okay, so let us say yes. This is also a way in which we can look at it. So we are saying that we are discussing the product owner's responsibility with the product owner within the team. So within the team, what would be their responsibility? Okay. This way also, although it is not talking about it, if it said, then it would have mentioned that discuss with the business analyst about the product owner's responsibility. And then yes, what you're saying is absolutely correct. Even then, however, and that's a very good point that you brought up, even then, if I have a specific purpose at hand, okay, which means, and this is true for many other questions also in exam, is that if I have a specific problem in hand, I would go with that solution which is answering it specifically, rather than talking about a little bit general thing. Now, which is I think, and I have observed, is a very good mindset to have. That is specific problem, specific answers. Okay, this is a little bit general, and I would say a very far-fetched thing that discussing about responsibilities. When we are discussing about responsibility, we'll definitely discuss how to initiate the work, but a little bit far-fetched. But the way you are looking at it is a good way to analyze the options. Okay, but even then, I think B would be better because it is solving the problem at hand.
Yeah, I get your point. Thanks.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, so what are the lessons that we learn? See, how do we spot and how do we review? It is not about solving 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 questions. I'm sure you don't have time for that. And I would also not suggest anybody to do that because it would be a waste of time. Because you'll be solving questions, you'll be making the same mistakes. Then again, you'll be solving questions, you'll be making the same mistakes. improvement would be slow. Okay? Rather than that, I would suggest whatever questions you do 60, you do 180, one mock, review it well, spend 5 minutes going through the question, trying to understand the twists and turns that can help you in bridging the gaps in your current knowledge. Okay, so how do we do that? We need to look at this. Okay, do I know what sponsor is? Do I know what Scrum is? Do I know what Kanban is? Okay, do I know the responsibilities of a product owner, because we've discussed somewhere? Okay, do I know about WBS? So what you need to do is you need to look at the question and do a little bit of X-ray and try to understand whether you know everything that was at least discussed in the question. Okay, because what you're going to see in one question is going to be seen repetitively multiple times throughout the exam. So if you spend good amount of time going through these things and saying, okay, I know what this is, don't have to go into details of do's and don'ts and everything, but at least what it is and why do we use it. That is good enough. So you should ask yourself a question, what these things are, do I know it? Do I know what a backlog is? Do I know what product owner does? Do I know what Scrum is? Do I know what Kanban is? That should be good enough. Okay. So how do we do that? Look at this, spot what you have to study, and through the textbook, through Google, through you all have my number as well. So reach out to me and discuss if you don't understand anything. Okay. So with this question, what are the things that we have spotted? One is product backlog. Okay. What is very important to understand about product backlog is that it is a list of requirements from the user. Okay. And it is a prioritized list, which means there is an order in which it is listed. Okay. And it represents the backlog of the work to be done. So there are certain work to be done and we have created a backlog of it. And that's what it is. Like, let's say, for example, you want to list down everything that you have to do tomorrow. What will you do? You will create a backlog or list. What will you do after that? You will prioritize it based on the value that it will provide to you. The only thing that changes in Agile is we focus on the value that will be provided to customer, because we're talking about a team, we're talking about organization. Okay. So at that point of time, we need to discuss what value is provided to the customer. Based on that, it will be prioritized. So product backlog is a prioritized list of user requirements representing the backlog of the work to be done. Second, it is prioritized according to the highest value item first. We have already discussed value to the customer. Okay. There could be a feature which would be more complex. Maybe it is more complex. It will take more time. If it takes more time, you will get more value out of it. But if the customer does not get value out of it, it is of no use. Okay. So for us, customer is the focus. Customer value is the focus. Then backlog is dynamic. Okay. WBS is fixed. It changes, but very less. Right? We don't expect WBS to change in the project a lot. It will. 5%, 10% would change. Okay. But backlog is very, very dynamic, which means whatever you have created, you have no idea what it can lead to. For now, maybe there are 10 items in the backlog. It may go to 100 also. Right? So it's very, very dynamic and it evolves continuously throughout the project. So as the requirement changes, okay, the product backlog would also be revised. Then focus is on end user and customer needs. Okay. Ultimately, your users, your customers should get benefited from whatever you are building. Okay. Otherwise, nobody will pay you for that. They might pay you for whatever the contract is, but they will not ask you to do anything else. Okay. They may stop there. It's not adding value. Let us close the project. Okay. Product owner owns the backlog. Okay. Very important. The product owner owns the product and owns the product backlog also. Owns the product backlog means any change that would be required to be done in the product backlog will be done by the product owner. Team can suggest, project manager can suggest, sponsor can suggest, customers, stakeholders, they all can suggest. Ultimate responsibilities is with product owner. They would decide whether to add it to the product backlog or not. Okay, they would not refuse anybody. They would discuss, request, suggest, try to convince, all those good things that they have to do. They will do it. But ultimately, they have to take the decision. Okay, so the product owner owns the product backlog. Any option that says team should change the backlog, product manager should change the backlog, project manager or the sponsor should change the backlog, we should not do. Product owner only. Okay. And the backlog refinement is conducted continuously to clarify and add details to requirement. Okay. See, the product owner is discussing with the customer regularly. Okay. They are updating the product backlog. Frequently, regularly, what they should also do is bring the team members for discussion and add details. Let the team members clarify what they're looking for, if they understand what the user story is or not, any kind of detail that they are looking for, any clarification that they're looking for. It should happen continuously. Okay. Regularly in the project, we should do these activities so that there is an absolute clarity, and whatever is on the backlog, at least the top priority items, they are ready to be developed. Okay, it should not happen that we have to develop that and we don't have information about it. Okay, that is why we do a lot of backlog refinement, which is called adding a lot of clarity and details to whatever requirements are there on the product backlog. Okay, so as a summary, product backlog is a list of requirement. You can create it on your software, or you can write it on a sticky note, paste it on the wall wherever you are working. Okay, owned by the product owner. Product owner will take decisions whether to change anything in the backlog. Right. Let's move to the next question. Sorry, there are two more things that we discussed. I'm really sorry for that. There are two more things. One was Scrum. Okay, so Scrum is a framework in Agile, which is a project management framework. Okay, so typically what we learn in terms of Agile, and we call iterations. Iterations are called sprints in Scrum. Okay, and sprint by sprint we complete the work. That's what Scrum is. So Scrum is a project management framework where we complete our work sprint by sprint. Everything else that we discussed, product backlog, sprint backlog, prioritization, daily stand-up, goal, review, retrospective, everything is applicable to Scrum. Second thing that we discussed was Kanban. Kanban is a very helpful methodology when you want to check the workflow. Okay. So for any user story, how much time does it take for you to start the work? How much time does it take for you to develop the work? How much time does it take to test and review? How much time does it take to implement it into the product? Right? If you want to break down your activities, if you want to understand the flow of the work for a particular user story, you use Kanban. Okay. Typically, what we do is we divide it into 3 columns: to do, doing, and done. And we keep a track of what is happening with a particular user story. That is what Kanban is. All right. So that's what we discussed with respect to the previous question. Now let us move to the second question. Please put the choice, your answers in the chat box, and then we'll discuss. All right, so let's discuss this. Midway through an agile project, the legal team in the organization brings forth a recent development in governmental laws that renders the built increments of the product incomplete. Okay, so what has happened? We are midway into an agile project, and the legal team within our organization, they have come and told us that there has been a change in governmental laws, or there has been some development in the government laws, because of which whatever we have done appears incomplete. Okay, the built increments of the product is rendered incomplete, which means every iteration, what we do is we build some user stories, right? So those user stories, whichever we have completed, as a whole, it is still incomplete if we don't comply to these laws. That's what is the meaning, right? The product must comply to the requirements of the law, obviously, right? Now, the question is, which of the two actions should the project manager take first? So we have to select two actions and we have to select two options. Okay, very, very important. If you miss this point, okay, then you will be in trouble. You will select only one and submit. Now, PMP, the people who decide the question, the people who finalize the question, they are very nice people, and I expect them to stay nice for maybe a couple of more years at least. Okay, so what they don't do is telling you choose all that apply. Okay, then we may get confused whether to select two or whether to select three. But if they tell you whether to select two or three, then it's a good thing. And I expect them to do that, not to say that choose all that apply. That will be a little bit confusing to do it in 1 minute. Okay. Anyways, let us have a look at it. Even if they say, let's say, for example, okay, tomorrow their mind changed and they said choose all that apply. Try to use elimination technique. If you eliminate the options, it will help. Okay. In many of the multiple choice questions, whether it is for PMP or any other exam you take, elimination technique works. Okay, so try to use that, it will help. Let us have a look at it. Okay, so what is the situation here? Legal team said that we need to comply with some requirements. So what should action we should do? Take first. Ask the product owner to include the requirements in the product backlog. Okay, we just discussed that the product owner is responsible for the product backlog and they will do it. Okay, but here it might not be applicable. Okay, why? Because just the first information has come to us. Okay, that there might be required and we have to comply with the requirements. We need to convert it into user stories. We need to understand the requirements. We need to understand a little bit more about the requirements. And maybe then, yes, we will need to add to the product backlog. If the question is asking which two actions we should do first, probably this could be also one of the actions. Okay, might not be the very first action, but maybe the second action. So we'll just park it. If I see a better option, then I'll choose that. I will eliminate this. If not, I'll just park it. Then I'll go to B. Work with the team members to analyze the potential impact of the requirement. Should I do that? Yes, absolutely. Right? Do I need to understand the potential impact of the requirements? Yes. Will I work with the team? Everything is aligned. So this also looks good. So we'll park it. Okay, so maybe these are the two options that you have to select. We don't know. Let's go to C. Facilitate a focus group meeting with the legal team for details of the requirement. Okay, so the legal team has informed you about some recent development in the laws. That in itself does not become the requirement. Okay, it will become the requirement once you understand more detail about it. You convert it into user requirement. Okay, and then you launch it. Right, and then you add it into the product. So C looks like a very, very good choice, much better than A and B. Because only when you understand the detail, then you can understand the potential impact of it. Only when you understand the detail, then you can add it into the product backlog. So for now, C looks better than A and B. So you can put a star, or however you make a note in your exam. You may not be able to put star or anything, but in your notebook, just mention C or anything that would help you remind that yes, C was the choice that I selected, or maybe put a tick to it. Then you go to D. Discuss the priority of the requirements with the product owner. Okay, should I do that? Yes. Okay, this also looks like a good option. Okay, that what would be the requirement of the product owner that I have to select. But before that, should we include it to the product backlog? Yes. Okay, so I have one option which is better than A and B, and I have another option, a better option or an earlier option is there, which we have already discussed. So D does not look like that good a choice. I will discuss the priority of requirements with the product owner, definitely. But I will do it after it has been included into the product backlog. Okay, so I have one choice, which I have two choices, which are better than D, hence I could eliminate D. Then I go to E. Ask the team members to prioritize the requirements for upcoming iterations. Now, this is like jumping to conclusion. Okay. All I have is an first information. Okay, so as an example, all I have is an FIR, and I'm saying put that person into jail. Okay, we cannot do that, right? We have to analyze, we have to understand, and then we need to do something. So we cannot prioritize it directly to the upcoming iteration. This is also wrong. So now I have three choices. C is better than A and B. So C is definitely a choice. Then I need to go to A and B and see what could be a better one. Okay. Ask the product owner to include the requirements in the backlog, or work with the teams to analyze the potential impact of the requirement. B is much better. First, understand it. Okay, what could be the impact of the requirements and everything, and then once you have a little bit of detail, you can add it into the product backlog. Okay, hence B is better than A. So the choices are B and C. Is it clear, everyone, or any doubts, any discussion, please?
Yeah, it's clear.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. So now let us move to the lesson that we have learned from this. Okay. Very important. Now, irrespective of agile or traditional approach, the mindset of any change is same. If somebody is asking for a change, if somebody is asking for an addition, if somebody is asking for something, right? My mindset is same. The mindset is first to understand the change. Okay, understand as much as possible, discuss with them, understand the change, then analyze for potential impact. Okay, what could be the impact of it? Based on that understanding and analysis, then you choose the best approach on building that. If it is a change, if it's a problem, anything, you choose the best approach in building that. Okay, then implement the approach. Whatever the best approach has been selected by the team collectively, we implement that approach and inform the relevant stakeholders that yes, we have implemented the approach, this is what we have done. And one more very important part, check whatever you have implemented, has it been successful or not? Okay, so first you understand why the change is required, and at the end you check whether it was met or not. Okay, so that check is also important. Many a times you will see questions. In fact, you will see a question at least on every step of it, where you will see that one of the options is correct in either of this. So this slide itself tells you at least 6 PMP questions that will be asked. Okay? And that's the flow. If they are asking for a change, if they're asking for any addition, this is the flow. Okay? Understand the change, or more importantly, understand why. Why is that change required? Okay? Then analyze the impact. How will this change impact my project? Cost, schedule, quality, risk, resources. What is it going to impact? Right? Based on that impact, choose the best approach. Decide which is the way in which I'm going to implement this. Plan for it, basically. After planning, implement it. After implementing, just inform that yes, it has been done. Whoever had asked you to for the changes, inform them. It's a good thing to do. And also check whether that objective was met or not. Okay. Now, this is the mindset, which is irrespective of approach, because it's a project management mindset, and not only project management. For any work that we do, okay, we will not jump to conclusion. As we just discussed, just based on FIR, police also does not convict somebody. They don't put somebody to jail just because you have put an FIR. Otherwise, half of the population would be in jail. Right? So what do? They analyze, understand, discuss, and then take decisions. Right? This is what we have to also do. And we do it while we are working. It is just a matter of identifying that in question and putting in the exam. Right? Now, this is the mindset. But what changes in traditional and agile? Traditional will follow the same mindset with documentations and processes. Right? So you will have a change request, formal change request, you will go to discussion team, will discuss it, understand the impact, project manager will discuss with the change control board, then it will be implemented, this and that, lot of documentation, lot of processes. Okay. In Agile, however, it will be more reviews and discussions. Discuss what the change is required, understand it, build it, show it, review it, done. Right? Because if you start going for documentation and process in Agile, you will be doing a lot of documentation process with a lot of changes. Right? So mindset is same. The way we do it is different. Traditional, we do it through documentation process because multiple different people would be involved in that. In Agile, we do it through reviews and discussion because maybe only 2 or 3 people would be involved. Team, in fact, 3 roles: team, project manager, and product owner. That's it. And the person who requested for change. Done. Right? Even if you are doing a huge project, you have 10 different Agile teams in an organization. 9 teams wouldn't matter. You don't have to inform even you don't even have to inform them. Only what matters is one team who is going to make these changes. And hence documentation and process are not. All right. Yes, Manish, you had raised hands. Please go ahead.
No, done. I clarified.
Okay,
Fine.
Thank you
We
so
can
much.
continue.
Yes, Kirti, please go ahead. You raised hand.
Amit, I'm little confused in this question, the one which we are discussing. In that, they said there is a compliance requirement, and they also had told the impact that whatever is being done will be incomplete unless we follow the requirements. So the understanding part and impact is already there in the question. Is it?
No, it is
Means
just
understanding the problem.
understood your case. So you're saying that do we not have all the details available? Why are we still analyzing? Is that your question?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
Right. The answer is no. Okay. See, just because we know that we have a compliance requirement does not mean that we know what that requirement is. Okay. So if I tell you that there is a safety requirement, or I tell you, okay, there is a security requirement for the application that you are using. Okay, and we must comply with it. This is all that we know. So what you need to do is, what is that security compliance requirement? Where will it be applied? How is it to be done? When it is to be done? How will we show it? Right? So a little bit more details. As of now, we only know that yes, it is important or it is required, but what it is, we don't know. So there is a compliance requirement which will be applicable, but we need to understand the detail of it. Only then we can work on it. Right? So that is not available.
So the first section should be to have a meeting with legal team, right?
Yes, absolutely. So we need to first understand what that is.
Okay.
Whoever has come up with a new requirement, whether it is a legal team, finance team, or anybody, we have to first understand what they are talking about. Okay? And then only we can do anything about it. All right. So now let us move to the third question. Yes, please. Go through the options, put the answer in the chat box, and then we'll discuss. Okay, so let's discuss this. An Agile team has been conducting the daily stand-up meetings in the best way possible. And the stakeholders are very happy about it. Great. Yeah, no problems. For a change, we don't see a problem. Somebody is happy about this. The team has also received, just a second. The team has also received praise from the executive management of the organization. Okay. During a recent daily stand-up meeting, one of the new team members reports a technical issue within the product that is hindering the progress of the sprint. So what's happening? There's a team who has been doing a fantastic job with respect to daily stand-up meeting. Okay. Praises all around, having a gala time. And then there's a team member, a new team member, Okay, who reports a technical issue within the product that is hindering the progress of the sprint. So they are facing some technical issues within the sprint, which is hindering the progress of the sprint entirely. Now, what should the project manager do? In such cases, what would the project manager do? Let us have a look at the options. Provide the solution to the team member using expert judgment. Okay, we do use expert judgment as a tool, but when a team member faces a problem, the mindset is not to solve the problem for them or provide the solution to them, even if we know the solution, even if we are the gold medalist project manager or whatever it is. Okay, ultimately now we are a leader. Okay, so even if I'm a greatest of the developer of all time, okay, now I am a leader. So as a leader, I need to develop people's problem solving skills. Okay, so providing the solution is not a good mindset to have. We need to help them find a solution that would be better. Providing the solution is not good. So we will eliminate this. Then we go to B. Coach the team member to produce their own solution. Helpful, right? Should we coach the team members? Yes. Team member is facing a problem. I need to coach them so that they can find their own solution. Just the mindset that we discussed about. So it looks like a good choice. Then we go to C. Call a meeting with relevant team members to discuss the potential solutions. Okay. Now what is happening? I have a very, very good choice in B. Okay. And I would feel like this could be the correct. But when I look at C, it looks even better. Okay. There is a problem which is affecting my sprint. So certainly it is not an individual problem. Okay. So if I discuss with the team member and produce the solution, probably two people, me and the team member, would meet and we can discuss. But now I have a better choice where it is impacting the whole sprint. Can I call the relevant team members and discuss the potential solution? Maybe somebody would be able to suggest us better. And are they impacted by the problem? Yes, because it is impacting the progress of sprint as well. So it looks like a very good choice and better than B. In many of the circumstances in questions, you will see that B generally is a good choice. But as I have been repeating, it is not about which option is universally correct. It is all about, is it a better option in this question or not? Should I coach the team member to produce their own solution? Yes, always. But in this situation, because the problem is impacting the sprint entirely, and there is a better option of discussing with the team members who are also experts who could suggest a better solution rather than just me and the team member. Okay, so collective decision making, collective problem solving, participatory decision making is always better. Right? So here it is definitely a better choice. So we can now eliminate B, we'll keep C and we'll go to D. Inform the issue to the software vendor for technical resolution. Okay, is it a technical issue? Yes. So should we go for technical resolution? That's right. Intention is correct, but the way we are doing it might not be. Okay, where has the software vendor come from? We don't know. Right? Do we have a software vendor in this project? I don't know. Right? So nothing in the question tells me that I need to go to the software vendor. Only then I will take the decision. Going to software vendor will take your time. You discuss with them, you call them, talk to them, a lot of issues, right? So if I have to involve a third party, it should be justified. For now, it is not. Relevant team members is justified because it is impacting the whole sprint. Okay, the two parties, me and the team member, two parties. Third party, maybe the team members, the other team members. But is it justified to involve them? Yes, because it is impacting them as well. And they will provide good solutions. So C is a better choice. Clear everyone why C is best of the lot? Especially why B is not correct.
Yes.
Can I say something?
Yes, please.
Yeah, in this question, say issue within the product that is hindering the progress of the sprint. So he is asking for the the team member is asking for the solution.
Correct.
And and the answer C says that call a meeting with the relevant team members to discuss the potential solutions.
Yeah.
So these team members are facing some technical issue which is hindering the sprint, and they are asking for the help. How they will be discussing on the potential solutions? The potential solutions would be calling the software vendor.
Okay. There are two things to it. One is one of the new team members reports the issue. Okay, so one person has reported the issue. So let us say we are doing projects. Okay, one person in our team found an issue, saw an issue, and they have reported to us. Will we not discuss within our team on how to solve it?
Yes, we will.
Right? So this is what we are doing. So we are calling a meeting with the relevant team members to discuss the potential solution. What could be the solution, right? Within our team, I have seen an issue, somebody has seen an issue. We are calling a meeting and we are saying, okay, let us have a discussion. Let us try to solve a potential solution, right? So that is one part, okay, which answers why C is a good choice, right? Then you go to D, okay? The reason D is wrong is because we don't know whether we have a vendor or not. Nothing in the option or nothing in the question, nothing in the question tells me that we have a vendor that we are working with. Okay, so this here might not be the best choice. What if the issue that we are facing is not related to that vendor, even if there is a vendor? Okay, so what is happening here is that we are taking a decision. We are saying that I need to inform this issue to the vendor. What if the vendor has not built that product itself? What if vendor is doing something else? So in order to take this decision, I need more information about the vendor, right? Which is not available in the question. And hence we are not going with the software vendor. Although it looks logical, see, and this is where it is very important to understand that the kind of projects that we do and the question that will be asked, question will be very general. Okay, maybe we are doing a project where software is being handled by a vendor. So we face a problem and we talk to vendor, which is absolutely correct thing to do. Okay, but what we have to do is we have to focus ourselves on what the information the question has given. And if the option is talking about any third party from the discussion, okay, whatever parties have been discussed in the question is good. If we are adding anyone outside, anyone from the outside of the question's scope, then we should ask ourselves a question: is it justified? Okay. Then only we will go with D. Otherwise, it is C. Otherwise, it is we will try to solve it within ourselves. Only then we will go to somebody else.
Okay, understood.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question, by the way. There is one comment on chat. Team meeting will help finding the solution and we help everyone as lessons learned. Absolutely. Right? So when we do team meeting, not only will we find the solution, but all the team members will also learn how to solve problems, how to find a solution, which is more important than this solution itself. This solution, anyways, we will find, or we will go to someone and we'll find it. But ultimately, what is more important is that team learns how to find a solution to the problem. That is important. That is why B option is also good, because that team member is learning. The only reason C is better is because here only one team member is learning. Here the whole team is learning and contributing as well. So this question discusses about one concept called daily stand-up. Okay. Now, there are a few things important with respect to daily stand-up meeting. First, it is a brief, very important, right? It is a brief daily meeting where we meet preferably at the same time and same place. Okay, you have set up a meeting room, discuss in that meeting room. You want to discuss where people are sitting, go and discuss, by all means do it. You want to discuss in cafeteria, if it works for you, by all means do that. But ensure that you are able to set a rhythm to it. Okay, the daily 10 o'clock in the morning we will meet, daily 10 o'clock in the morning we will meet. It will automatically become a habit, muscle memory as we call it. It will become a habit and you will be able to set a rhythm for it. Okay, and very important, daily stand-up meeting is for the team, is by the team. Okay, team will talk for the team's discussion. Right? So it's a very brief daily meeting, typically 10 to 15 minutes. Okay, and it is time boxed. Very, very important. What do we mean by time boxed? It means that we are putting the time into a box and putting a lock to it, which means this time will not extend, come what may. Iteration, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, whatever we decide. Once we have decided, we will not extend that. Okay, that will remain fixed. Similarly, daily stand-up should also remain fixed. Whatever you decide, 10, 12 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, 16 minutes, whatever you decide it once and then fix it and say that we will not change it. Okay, then you will be able to keep the meeting focused and efficient. Otherwise, these 10, 15 minutes would go in discussing the last night's match, cricket, football, whatever you like. Okay, the 10 minutes, 15 minutes would be over, and then the meeting will start. Right? So we have to keep it fixed, no other discussions. Okay, maybe if India wins World Cup, so you can discuss for 1 minute. I'm just kidding. Don't discuss anything at all. Okay, just the three things. Discuss everything before the meeting or after the meeting, whatever you want to do. Right? But in that 10 to 15 minutes, only three things should be discussed. What was the plan for yesterday? The problems that the team members faced, and what is the plan for today? That's it. Nothing else. Okay. Purpose is very important, right? We have already discussed. We need to know the purpose of everything. Why do we have a daily stand-up meeting? Because we want to synchronize teams' activities. Person A, B, C, D, E, F, G, what are they doing and how are their activities interrelated? That's the whole idea. Every team member should know about what everybody else is doing so that they can synchronize their work. Okay. It also promotes transparency. Everybody is talking about the task that they're going to do today, they did yesterday, and what they could complete, they could not complete. So there is an absolute transparency. With transparency, what happens is that team members would be able to help the other team member who might not have been able to complete the work. Right? But that help would happen after the release time, not at that point of time. Okay. And we're also able to identify obstacles. Any impediments, any blockers that team members are facing, we'll be able to identify within 10-15 minutes. Just imagine every day within 10-15 minutes, you can synchronize team activities, you can promote transparency, and you can identify obstacles. Could there be any better thing? In the morning, right in the morning, you know everything, what the team is going to do, what the problems they're facing, and they're also transparent, which means they're helping each other. It's a great, great tool, typically used in Agile, but I would suggest it to use with any team. Okay, it is very, very helpful. It's a good kickstart for the day. We used to do it. We used to not manage Agile project, but we used to do it. Okay, thanks to my project manager in my earlier days, and it helped. It helped a lot. Right. So if you want to try it, by all means, the first thing that you should try is daily stand-up. Then, in the meeting, no problem solving, no status update. Okay. What all have been completed, we don't discuss that. This problem, how do we solve it? We don't discuss that. This is the problem, that's it. Team member will inform the problem. The Scrum Master or the leader would just note down the problem. Any discussion after the meeting. You want to clarify the problem after the meeting. You want to discuss the status after the meeting. Everything after. Right? In terms of attendance, and this is something that I have seen a lot of people asking this question when they solve the questions. Who should be present? Team members must be present. Okay, it is for them, right? For the team, by the team. So they must be present. Facilitators should be present. Okay, they are obligated to be present. If for some reason they cannot be present, okay, they should use proxy. Proxy means identify one of the team member randomly who could play your role in that meeting, which means they would note down the problems that other team members are facing. Okay, if you're absent for 2 days, choose two different members. Okay, so that nobody will say that you are doing partiality and you want to promote that person and this and that. Okay, so facilitators should be present. Okay, almost every time, whenever they can. If by some means they cannot be present, then they should use proxy, which means there will always be a facilitator in the meeting. The person could be different, but that facilitator will always be there in the meeting. Okay. Product owner, customers could be present. Okay, they don't have a role to play here, but they can be a good listener there. They can listen. They should not be allowed to speak. Okay, put the tape to their mouth if they come. They should not speak anything. There's no point of product owner or customers speaking in a daily stand-up meeting. It is for the team, by the team, for synchronizing team activities. Okay, identifying obstacles. Any feedback product owner wants to give, they should give it after the meeting. Okay, not during the meeting, not at all. Okay, that is about daily stand-up meeting. Let us move to the next question. Put the answer in chat box and then we'll discuss. Okay, so let's discuss this. After completing several years as an individual contributor, a team member has now been awarded a project manager's role for an upcoming Agile project. So good for them. The team member discussed the opportunity with the current supervisor and puts forth the idea of using motivation to encourage the new project's team member to perform well throughout the project. Okay, so this team member has been promoted. Now they will become a project manager. So they are discussing with their supervisor and saying that, okay, I want to use motivation to encourage, okay, all the team members to perform well throughout the project. The question is, what should the project manager suggest the team member to do? Okay. This project manager here is the current supervisor. There's a gap in the question. Okay. One might get confused who the project manager is. So the project manager is the current supervisor, okay, of the team member. All right. So what should that supervisor or the project manager suggest the team member to do? Plan a rewards and recognition system that promotes collective spirit of the team. As you can see this question, it's actually oozing out agile mindset, right? Collective spirit of the team, rewards and recognition, okay, planning and discussing about it. Absolutely, right? So it looks like a great choice. Then we go to B. Link growth to a stringent individual performance measurement system. Okay, so an individual's growth is linked to a performance measurement system. So by default, they will have to perform well. Okay, but this might sound good, okay, but it is something that we used to do 10, 20 years ago. Okay, now they don't talk about it. Now the thing is, you motivate, you inspire people so that they can do it. Stringent linking the growth to the performance measure. If you perform in this manner, only then you will be promoted, or you will be given the increment, or your appraisal would happen in a nice way. That might not be a good way to motivate team members to work. Okay, it might backfire, and hence we don't do that anymore. A better way is to build the relationship, discuss, and then do it. Because see, if you build this, we all are professionals. We all know what happens to a system that we build. Okay, if people don't like that system, they will definitely find a bypass to it. Okay, for example, if you start measuring that they should be present 8 hours in office. Okay, just for example, okay, they should be present 8 hours in office. If they are not present 8 hours in office, then they will not get promotion, this and that. Right? What would happen? People would start spending 8 hours in office. Okay, but what will they do? 2 hours lunch, okay, 1 hour coffee break, then this break, then that break, then this discussion. They would be spending 8 hours, but it will not be productive. Okay, so linking the growth to some performance measurement system, people would always find a bypass to it if they don't like it. Okay, so it is much better to discuss, plan, and reward and recognition is a better way to motivate than to build a fixed thing. Okay, we should not do that. Use contingency reserve to fund some team building activities. Should we do team building activities? Yes. Will it motivate the team? Yes. Right? But the intention is correct. The way we are doing it is not. Contingency reserve is used for low priority risk. It is not built for team building activities. We should not do that. Very clear? Eliminated. Then D, inflate the project estimates to provide a financial buffer for team building activities. Okay, so while we are estimating the cost and everything, let us add some extra cost. Okay, so if we come to $1 million, let us quote $1.2 million to our management, so that we will have $0.2 million for team building activities. Not a good project management, not at all. Okay, a good project management is $1 million is our budget. Let us take approval for $0.2 million from the management for team building activities. Planning for it is much better. Okay, then saying that, okay, we will use from this budget, this quota, this box. We should not do that. Okay, we should always plan for it. We know that we have to motivate them, so we know that we have to plan for it. Rewards, recognition, whatever you want to do, team building activities, plan for it. Planning is much better than inflating a wrong estimate. Okay, it's never a good choice. So A is best. Right? So whenever you want to motivate team, plan for it. Plan on how you are going to motivate the team. Don't rely on that if they do performance better, make it subjective that then we will see what is to be done. Okay. They will never do better. If they know what kind of rewards, recognition would be there, then chances are more that they will perform better. So in the beginning itself, tell them what is going to happen, how you are going to measure it, how frequently you are going to measure it, how the rewards, recognition will be provided. Have a discussion around it. Much better way to motivate the team than anything else that we have seen in this option. Right. Any question in this? Is it clear, everyone? I think all of you answered A, so it's very clear that you want to provide rewards and recognition to your team, which is great to know. All right. Yes, Manish, what you're saying in the chat box is correct. Option A will bring immediate impact for motivation than the other options. Some of them, two of them are not right. Other could actually demotivate. So what is the mindset here? The mindset is that whenever you decide funds, specific funds are for specific purposes. We will never interchange. If we have decided something, we will use for that only, which means we have a cost estimate, we have a budget, we have a baseline for everything that can be planned. If you can plan for it, use it in your budget, add it to your budget. See, they might approve, they might not approve. You may have to remove it, you may not have to remove it. But if you can plan for it, you must always add it to your budget and try to convince the person on why you're doing it. Right? If you know why you're doing it, you will definitely be able to convince as well. If there is no budget, then it's a different thing altogether. Okay, but you will definitely try to convince them. Right? So if it can be planned, rewards, recognition, whatever it is, if it can be planned, add it to the budget, cost estimate, or baseline. Okay. Second, the second fund is contingency reserve. Okay, these are for very specific purposes. Okay, you will see many times options are saying use contingency reserve. Okay, you will not use it unless it is a low priority risk that you had accepted as a response, saying that, okay, this is such a low priority risk that I don't need to spend time finding out response and solution for it. I have just accepted it. If it happens, we'll deal with the effect. We'll not deal with the cause. Why it happened, why will it happen, how will we resolve it? We don't do it. Right? We say we have accepted it. Once it happens, then we'll see what is to be done. Right? Low priority risks, contingency reserve. Or some risks where responses are difficult to plan, or not, or let us say not difficult, it is impossible to plan. You are not able to plan for the responses. You have identified the risk. It is not a low priority risk, but you cannot find a solution as of now. So you say, okay, we cannot do anything about it. We cannot avoid it. We cannot mitigate it. We cannot transfer it. So we have to accept it. We have no other choice. So when it happens, then we'll deal with it. Okay? There will be many things in such way as well. So for that only, and for that only, and for that only, we will use contingency reserve. Okay, very specific purposes, nothing else. Then we have management reserve as a fund. Okay, it is to be used for mistakes. Issues that have happened which were not identified as risk. So when we are planning, if we cannot identify something and that mistake happens in the project, for that management will keep some reserve, and we will always have to seek approval for that. Okay, management, it is under management's quota, it is in their pocket. So if you want to take it from their pocket, you need to take approval for that. Contingency reserve is in your pocket, so you can use it, but it is to be used for specific purposes. Okay, budget is within your pocket. You can use it for the specific purposes that you have decided. If you are using for any other purpose, you need to keep a record of it. Okay, that is the idea of mindset of using money in the project. Specific funds are to be used for specific purposes. You won't see a lot of such scenario in Agile. Okay, but we should know about it. Sometimes they talk about Agile question and they mention these terms, so we need to be able to eliminate it, and that is why we are discussing, just like we saw in the last question. Now we go to the next question, last question of the day, fifth one. Please put the answer in the chat box and then we'll discuss. Okay, so let's discuss this. A new project manager has joined an organization that is transitioning from a predictive to an agile approach of project management. Another question. Okay, you see a lot of questions where organization is shifting from traditional to agile. The reason, because the world is working like that these days. Okay, around the world also, if you see, a lot of organizations want to move to agile because of the benefit that they have seen for the work that they do. Okay, not for clear scope, not for defined work, but for uncertain environment, uncertain work. Lot of organizations are moving towards agile. Okay, so what is one of the first things that the project manager should do to ensure that the agile approach will meet its objective? Okay, this is one question where the answer should automatically come to your mind when you look at the question. Okay, whenever a project is to be started, whenever an organization is moving from something to something, okay, or you want to start using agile approach, okay, the first thing almost always is to understand why. Okay, so why are we doing that? If we know that, it will definitely help us meet our objectives. Let us see. Build good relationships and obtain full management support. Will this help? Yes. But should it be one of the first things that I need to do to ensure that the agile approach will meet its objective? I don't know. If there are no other options, good options, then this could be correct one, because we must build good relationship and obtain full management support. This is stakeholder engagement. We should do that. Identify key stakeholders and engage them throughout the project. Another stakeholder engagement. Definitely we should do that. Stakeholder engagement does help us in our project. So it will help us in meeting the objective. Okay. As of now, if you look at A and B, you cannot say which one is better. Okay. So maybe something else is better. Let's see. C. Learn as much as possible about the organization's policies and procedures. We are moving to agile. Okay, so in all probability, the policies and procedures will also change. So for now, spending time learning about it, not a good choice. So we can eliminate this. Then we go to D. Conduct a few workshops with the team to build agile mindset. What is agile mindset? Understanding why we do agile. It is about being agile rather than doing agile, rather than understanding the practices and this and that, trying to understand why we do agile so that as a leader, we can decide what we want to apply into our projects. Okay, so D is much better than A and B. A and B were equal, and this is also a hint for the exam. If you see two equal options, probably both are wrong. Okay, so but always find a better choice, then eliminate it. Okay, so we have found a better one. That's why we are eliminating A. Is it clear, everyone? I think all of you answered also D. Right. So the lesson from this, very quickly, okay. What is one thing that is always first is to understanding the why. Why are we doing the project? In the project charter, first thing. Why is somebody asking for a change? Understanding the change, first thing. Why has this problem happened? Okay, first thing. So you should never use rules and formulas that if this happens, then I will select this in the option. Don't do that. It doesn't work. Always compare the option and decide. But this is one thing that you can rely on. That if any option is talking about why, and the question is asking what is the first thing to do, probably that option is correct. Okay. So whether it is project objective, whether it is agile mindset, whether it is goals, purposes, reason for change, almost everything should start with a why. We should know why we are doing it. Why you are doing PMP. You should know it. Then you will be motivated to study for PMP. Okay, so anything that you want to start, anything that you want to discuss, anything that you want to change, it should always start with a why. So if any option is saying that you are trying to understand the purpose, the reason, the mindset, it will always help. Okay, so that was the last lesson for today. Very quickly, if you could put in the chat box the date that you are looking at to take the exam. Okay, there are 28 of you. If you could mention that, I will take a note of it and I'll discuss with you. I know for a few of you, okay, when you are going to take the exam, but for many others, I don't. So can you please quickly put whatever the dates you are thinking of, okay, so that let us plan accordingly. Okay, if date is not sure, maybe week, let's say October last week or October second week, November first week, anything that you're thinking of. Yes, please, very quickly. Because I'm setting an year-end target for myself. How many people should get certified? Okay, so I need your support for that. All right. So I could see some numbers, some dates, some weeks. Absolutely great. Anyone missing? Anyone needs to please put in the timeline. And others who have done it, thanks a lot for your time. Okay. Next week when we meet, we'll be discussing about the exam mindset. Everything that we have discussed here in the training, all will be consolidated together in one session, and we'll discuss all the mindset, which is very important. You would probably go through that video twice or thrice during your preparation, and once definitely when you're about to take the exam. Okay, so we'll connect.
Shall I ask one? Shall I say something? See,
Yes, please. Go ahead.
Don't mind, please. I'm extremely sorry for. I need
No,
only
absolutely.
3
Please go ahead.
The way we are discussing my question and answers here, it finds very easy one, or it is a solvable thing. But when we go into that 60 minutes question answers, the time we are having is barely 1 minute 25 seconds or something, or 15 seconds. And within that time, it's really, it is very difficult to analyze whatever you say, why and what, and how to overcome that.
With practice. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to practice, we need to solve the questions, and we need to spend some time. Okay, looking at the question and trying to understand what kind of mistake I made and what kind of twists and turns can happen in the next question. Okay, the more you familiarize yourself with the questions, the more you will be able to answer it correctly. I know not only you, even if I take, I will not talk about other trainers, but even if I take 60 questions today, I will face the same issue. Right? That, okay, everything is in discussion is all good because I have created the question, so I can discuss about it, it's all good. But when you actually take the exam, okay, it's a different pressure. But if the process is correct, and we keep hitting ourselves deliberately with that process, that I have to look at understanding, I have to look at analysis, more often than not, we will be able to find it, and it will definitely improve. Okay, so what you're saying is currently I agreed with it. Okay, it is exam, it will have that pressure, but these processes, the way we put our study, the way you think, will always help. Initially, it may take a lot of time, but slowly it will definitely improve.
Okay.
So the answer
Thank
is
you very much.
practice and review. The more we review, the better it is.
Daily with 60 questions practice.
Not new, I won't suggest new 60 questions. If the same 60 questions, if you review it in detail, the way we are reviewing it, it will definitely help. You won't need more than 300, 400 questions to prepare for the exam. Yeah?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you
you so
very
much. So what I was
Thank
saying is next week, we will be discussing about exam mindset. Okay. We will also discuss the latest trend that we are observing with successful participants. What are they talking about questions? What kind of questions are more? What is the length of question? What type of questions are there? Okay. So we'll discuss these two things next week. Okay. With which we'll cover our revision sessions. There will be one thing which will be pending, which is called PMP Essentials. Okay, I will plan for it and then we'll discuss, which is to discuss all the essential topics at least one more time. Okay, so we'll do that, but we'll plan and I'll let you know. But mindset and trends definitely we'll discuss next week itself. Yes, Partha, please go ahead.
Yeah, Amit, I'm glad that you mentioned that you will discuss about this. But is it possible to have a few of those people who really did well in those PMP exams and to come over? Yeah, so means just to share their insight, like more
Sure,
from like
sure.
how they prepared and stuff like that. Means I'm not means whoever is willing to kind of oblige, but yeah, it's good to like kind of.
Sure. I'll check and let me see if I can bring. There would be definitely people interested. So let me check and we'll plan and we'll call for a meeting.
One more thing.
Yes,
I am the
please.
member of PMI and I have enrolled. How to download Agile Mindset? Will it
Agile
be possible?
practice guide.
Practice guide. Agile practice
Yeah,
guide.
you go to publications. Okay, on the website, on the top, you will find publications. The moment you go to publication, there would be Agile practice guide also written. Okay, on the left hand side, you will see standards, practice guide, this, that, here. Click to practice guide. Second or third book is Agile practice guide. Or if not, I'll
Yes,
share
yes.
a screenshot.
But they are asking for 4,000 rupees, $49 or something. So you told it is free.
No, not required. If you're a member, then it is not required to pay. Let's discuss. Let's discuss separately. I'll help you.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thanks a lot for your time. I will see you next week. And for those who are of regular batch, I'll see you on Saturday. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amit. Thanks,
Thank you,
everyone.
Amit.
Thank you,
Bye.
everyone.
Good night.
Thanks, Amit.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.